The 1990s saw the kart racing genre starting to go and explode in popularity with the release of Super Mario Kart in 1992. During 1992 and during after 1996 and 1997, both Mario Kart 64 and Super Mario Kart really started out the kart racing genre very small and very strong and well. After the release of Super Mario Kart, which received critical acclaim by critics, the sequel was released with the release of Mario Kart 64. Mario Kart 64 is basically bringing the kart racing game to 3D. However, they dropped the Super part of the Mario Kart name, and it instead uses the Mario Kart name we know for today, Mario Kart. Mario Kart 64. The game brought the series to 3D, and these days it was highly being overlooked, with some big aspects nobody didn't like the AI rubber banding and trying to catch up with you, alongside with various tracks that could be very a hit or a miss. But we're not gonna be talking about Mario Kart right now. We need to talk about one of the games that took heavy inspiration from Mario Kart, but somehow not really fully in the start. What I'm talking about is the precursor to Nickelodeon kart racers, Nicktoons Racing. Now, after playing Nickelodeon Kart Racers 3 pretty much a lot of times, I was completely skeptical about trying out Nicktoons Racing after looking at various videos on YouTube about Nicktoons Racing walkthroughs, and how everyone literally felt pretty good at playing the game or sucked at it at best. I'm very skeptical and very scared about trying out Nicktoons Racing. I mean, everyone either liked it or hated it. So I really wanted to try it out myself. So for this review, I'm giving credit to my alternate gaming channel, Subway Surface X Gamer, and we played the PC version. Well, why couldn't I play the PS1 version? Well, let's just say that the PS1 version is definitely something I had to avoid. Let's just say that the AI on that version is freaking aggressive. So yeah, I would rather avoid the PlayStation 1 port. But I do hear that Nicktoons Racing is very fun. Developed by Software Creations for the PlayStation 1 and PC, GBC by Pipe Dream Interactive, GBA by Crawfish Interactive, and published by Infogrames and PS1 and GBA versions, Hasbro Interactive on the Game Boy Color and PC, and on Chicago Gaming for the arcades, Nicktoons Racing was released in 2000 for the Game Boy Color and Windows PC, PlayStation 1 on September 4th, 2001, Game Boy Advance in 2002, and the arcades in 2003. For the game overview, we played the PC version of the game with the Xbox 360 controller. Yes, we actually played the game with an Xbox 360 controller. Yes, the game has gamepad functionalities. However, not exactly. They can't even function properly. The keyboard is still viable, but nonetheless, we did play the game very well, and so far we actually got gameplay footage. Actually, let's look at this game and let's see if it's bad or not. And how does it still hold up today? The presentation for Nicktoons Racing starts out with a mysterious figure writing letter invitations to compete in a Grand Prix for the top prize, called the Krusty Krab Big Bun Award. Gee, what on earth of an award is that? The host of the competition, also the individual who sent the invitations, is an unknown, unseen driver at a sleek black car with a tinted dome window, simply dubbed as the Mystery Rider, which the participating racers are challenged to beat, as well as each other. Upon arriving and being announced by the race announcer, the Mystery Rider and other Nicktoons speed off to begin the race. Upon opening the game, after the sequence intro, you're greeted by a good UI. Although it's not really great, but yeah. Um, and by the way, we went into the options center and we defined a joystick. We used an Xbox 360 controller. Again, we prefer using a Xbox controller or any kind of gamepad that we have at home, since playing with a keyboard feels kind of dull and it takes some time to take used to. But after all, we digress. Nicktoons Racing is basically a budget Mario Kart and Crash Team Racing game, which honestly kind of made perfect sense. However, it's only focusing on just Nicktoons characters racing against each other. I mean, get the name, Nicktoons Racing. Well, Nicktoons Racing focuses on engaging players in go-kart racing through various Nicktoons-themed circuit tracks and a variety of different modes, similar to the Mario Kart series. The game features a wide selection of playable characters from the various 90s Nicktoons. It made perfect sense, as the game is heavily based off of the Nicktoons series, seen from Nickelodeon. The characters you choose are 13 playable characters. Each of them are tied to their own distinctive go-karts. The Game Boy Color version features a reduced roster of only 7 characters. Dull. Very dull, if you ask me. And this is only to accommodate the hardware limitations of the GBC. We have 13 playable characters that are seen in the game. We have Angelica Pickles. We got Arnold from Hey Arnold. We have Cat Dog. We have the Angry Beavers. There's Daggett and Norbert. We have Darwin from the Wild Thornberries. Eliza from the Wild Thornberries. Helga from Hey Arnold. Ickes from Our Real Monsters. Patrick and SpongeBob from SpongeBob SquarePants. Plankton. We have Tommy Pickles from Rugrats. And we have Stimpy J. Cat from the Ren and Stimpy Show. Now, what's a kart racing game without power-ups? Yeah, what's a kart racer without any power-ups? Because do not forget that, let's just say that Nicktoons Racing, just like Mario Kart, is considered a combat racing game. There's more than that than just racing around the course and win. There are several power-ups. There are several power-ups that you could collect, which can be used to attack or defend. The pickups can be obtained by driving through one of the present boxes or item boxes, just like in the Mario Kart games, and they grant you an ability. Coconuts is a projectile that you can shoot in 3 different directions, which is a ranged weapon. A shield as the name implies, can be used to protect yourself from ongoing attacks from other AI opponents. There, there's a jellyfish that can sting you for a limited amount of seconds, and there's also a rock, and there's also a power up where you can steal your items. The there's the kitty litter power up, which acts as an oil slick to make opponents spin out, and there's a liquid bubble where you will be able to have your opponents get stuck and then it'll flame you right it will flame you and it will flame you backwards if you're not careful. And there's the baby powder, which is basically a smoke cloud. And there's the trash can. Yeah, not the best power-ups, and yeah, they're not really useful, but I'm sure this is the only kind you see. The another power-up is the exploding box, which is actually like a bomb or something, and it can stain other opponents if it explodes. The controls are pretty simple. You could accelerate, brake, jump, and drift. We know power slide. I think we know power slides isn't very viable, but at least it functions properly. And also let's look at the track selection courses. Now the track selection courses really feels like they're really well designed and made, just like the track selection I saw in Nickelodeon Kart Racers 2, which is basically the successor to Nicktoons Racing. However, they can really trip you up if you're not careful. There are some obstacles and some hazards that you have to avoid rather than just the power-ups. And also you might have to look out for an ongoing and insane chain of attacks, because remember, the AI can also use power-ups just like you. Meaning you must be on alert and make sure to be careful. Because the AI can really try and trip you up. Along the way on the racetrack, you'll see some sparkly things on the track. Basically, this is your nitro boost meter. There's a nitro boost meter up top of the position that you're in. So you have to use it wisely, because when you're collecting those glitters that are seen scattered along the tracks, you'll be able to earn some boosts, which actually help you out as if you're not doing so well. There'll be some bumps and sharp shortcuts that you need to find, so that way you can get ahead of the race. And you must very be careful, because some of the power-ups can disable your item if you're not careful. And also some of the AI racers can sometimes misbehave if you're not. So what do I think of it? So what do I think of this game? Well, it's fine. Yeah, that's my overall experience. Like, the game isn't that bad. Far from it. I mean, I played the PC version of the game, and literally this is the only thing I can comment. And also what do I like about its presentation? Well, the presentation wise, it's not very much colorful, but at least it has a good grounded color palette, I guess. And also I like the character models as well, as they look like as they're not really the best, but they are still good, but at least the developers could have done something better than this. But don't not forget, this was 2000, and I wasn't even born at that year. I was born in 2002, right right at the time when the GBA version was released in 2002, that year, and the arcades were released in 2003. The arcade version was released after the GBA version. So yeah. Gameplay rise. Controlling the character and its vehicle is very responsive, pretty well. However, the handling model is a little out of whack. When turning, you understeer actually. So doing drifts is actually very viable, or in this case, I had to use the jump button to like keep, and also use the drifting very seriously and very well. Oh, however, you don't get boosts from drifting like that. So yeah, that was like back then. So there were no arguments there. And also I like the sound effects. They're very great fitting in to the game. I mean, the cartoon sound effects really fit the game very well. The track selection is very nice, and I can really tell this is an arcade racer. Don't forget, kart racers are also subgenre to arcade racers. This is the best thing I've ever seen in a vehicular combat kart game. However, on the downside is that it is pretty disappointing that there aren't really other characters in Nicktoons Racing like Doug and other characters in Nicktoons Racing, but I just completely forgot that during the 90s that Doug was acquired by Disney, so it makes perfect sense why Doug wasn't there. However, thankfully Nickelodeon had kept the rights to air reruns of the original Doug though. But sadly, with Jim Jenkins' production team, Jumbo Pictures, being under Disney, it's a shame that Doug couldn't make it. That's the only thing. Yeah, I really did not like how Nickelodeon really did not order the final season of Doug though, and made ABC and Disney swoop in and get the rights to the Doug trademark alongside Jumbo Pictures. Real shame. It's a real shame. Also, they could have added more to characters than just 13. But again, this was 2000, and this is the only type of variety of characters that we got. But what about audio work and voice acting? Well, the voice acting would also have a mini talking point. While voice acting is present in Nicktoons Racing, basically these are just basically voice acting design is simply ripped from episodes of certain Nicktoons games, like simply saying "Are you blind?" from the I Love Chicken episode, alongside with SpongeBob saying "Go SpongeBob" from one of the SpongeBob episodes. It's about blowing a bubble, I think, and Patrick saying "Patrick sad" from one of the SpongeBob episodes. Basically voice acting design is simply ripped from Nicktoons episodes. So it's completely no brainer, and because I watched someone's video about the voice acting design, and it's a surprise that the voice acting is simply ripped from older Nicktoons episodes. So I'm just surprised. But then again, there were free online games that has the voice acting, which simply simply ripped quotes from Nickelodeon shows. Oh, SpongeBob especially. There are a few modes which were minimum by the numbers: cups, time trial, race for fun, versus, relay, and there are bonus levels. This is the primary mode for the game, the cups mode. This is basically your basic Grand Prix mode. This is the mode required to beat the game's main story, unlock all the tracks for other modes of play, and then unlock the Mystery Rider as a playable card, and the bonus mini games. Time Trial, as the name implies, is a single-player mode that can be used by the player to test their speed and ability on each unlocked track. After finishing your first lap, a ghost racer will appear and perform the lap as the player did on the previous lap. Race for Fun, or basically the arcade mode to pick up and play. It is a mode that allows players to race a single track without competing in a cup. This is basically your free race. The player progressively earns random collectible rewards for the trophy shelf the more races they participate in a row and win. Versus mode is simply the same as Race for Fun, but for 2 players instead. This mode does not feature collectibles. Relay is a mode that allows the players to pick 3 characters and race them in a 3-lap relay, where each character performs 1 lap before tagging to the next racer. If the player hits their next racer directly, they get an initial speed boost for their next lap, and bonus levels. Besides the main racing tracks, the game also features a single-player and multiplayer specific bonus mini-games that you unlock as you play through and beat all the cups in medium and hard mode. Yeah, you had to beat medium and hard mode to unlock the bonus level mini games. Who knew? Beating medium mode unlocks the Hey Arnold themed level Big City Cleanup, in which player is given a time trial in order to collect all 60 of the power-up presents seen in the main racing gameplay. And this is on for single player mode. In multiplayer mode, hard mode, reward, the player unlocks the SpongeBob SquarePants themed level Track Soccer, or Beach Soccer, in which 2 players push a beach ball around the field attempting to score more goals than the other in a timed match. Interesting. Outside of the playable cast, other non-player characters make cameo appearances in the game's cutscenes, like Ren from the Ren and Stimpy Show, Oblinia from Real Monsters, Squidward Tentacles from SpongeBob, and Rancid Rabbit from Cat Dog. Stump from the Angry Beavers appears in the in-game item. All playable characters retain their original voice actors via reused audio samples from their respective shows. The race announcer, voiced by Chris Jojo, is a fully new character created specifically for the game. The Game Boy Color version received a 3 out of 10, meaning it's an unfavorable score. The GBA received 78 out of 8% on game rankings, scoring an 8 out of 10. But what about the PlayStation 1 version? 70% on game rankings. But what about the PC port? Well, no one didn't really comment anything and gave the PC port anything, considering the fact that the game was ported over to PC. Nobody didn't say nothing about it. Oh wait, somebody did say something about the PC version. 71%, meaning PC Power Play actually liked it, though. So basically the GBC version is basically the worst version of Nicktoons Racing. Yeah, I stay away from it because it's not worth it. And also, by the way, Nicktoons Racing on the GBC, basically an isometric racer. Yes, an isometric racer. Very, very much an isometric racer. Just like Hot Wheels Velocity X and Hot Wheels All Out. And other later isometric games scene has this. Ugh. Be honest here, I'd rather play games in third person and not isometric with a bird's eye view. So, what do I think about Nicktoons Racing and how does it hold up? Well, it holds up rather well, despite the limited characters wise. I like this little arcade kart racer, and besides that, this is the game that really started the Nicktoons Racing series. And it's still here to this day, in the present day, trucking on as Nickelodeon Kart Racers, or as we affectionately call it, the reboot of Nicktoons Racing. But at least it's still great. On the technical side of things, I did encounter one issue. The game stopped working on me when I was testing it out and I was recording it. So that was the only major criticism that I got. Yes, the game crashed on me, considering I'm using Windows 10. So it's very surprised. But for the Need for Speed Most Wanted 05 crashed on my PC a few times. So older games intended to crash for reasons that are known for, but they're at least still playable in every regard, as long as you have an ISO disc ready on your PC. I enjoy playing Nicktoons Racing, and I really could not believe that this is the game that really started the Nicktoons Racing series, as later Nicktoons Racing games later made their way into fruition, like Nicktoons Winners' Cup Racing and Nicktoons Nitro. Oh, and later Nicktoons Racing was later brought back up as Nickelodeon Kart Racers. Nickelodeon Kart Racers 1 really was terrible, but it did later was improved upon with the second game and the third game. And for Nickelodeon, I think they should not give up with their Nicktoons Racing game IP, because Nicktoons Racing really is special, as it's the greatest racing game that Nickelodeon has ever gave us. And it's more than just a racing game. For one, it's based on the Nicktoons series that Nickelodeon has aired throughout the years since 1991. And having Nicktoons characters racing against each other or in various set of tracks from their respective shows is very fun. If I were a kid growing up in the late 90s, I would have personally enjoyed it very much. Pretty much the power-ups, I might be able to find out which power-ups is which. Ranged weapons in the game work like the jellyfish and the bubble somehow worked like a red shell. Well, the jellyfish mostly. The jellyfish works like a red shell. Coconuts work like green shells. The kitty litter from the Ren and Stimpy show works like an oil slick. The baby paddle works like a smoke cloud from Scrap Metal Racers. And the liquid or the kitty litter works like a banana peel. And the green liquid is basically if you like drive over it, it gets stuck to you and it flings you backwards, meaning Now, when I play the PC version, you are able to hold items directly right in front of your cart, similar to Mario Kart at the time. So yeah, it's possible that you'll be able to do it by holding down on the power-up key and make sure to let it go. After beating the final cup up in Nicktoons Racing, we finally be able to identify who this mystery rider is. The mystery rider is none other than Plankton, Sheldon J. Plankton himself. He wanted and after beating the final cup, you'll be able to you are awarded with the Krusty Krab Big Bun Award and a dozen of Krabby Patties. And this is where Plankton's plot really had started. This is basically just a distraction, just so Plankton can get the Krabby Patty secret formula, and as always, it was a major fail. Seriously, what is so important about a stupid secret formula? I understand why. Because what made the Krabby Patties taste so good? We may never know. But otherwise, it still remains a mystery on how the Krabby Patties are made. We know that perfect patties are made with love, but we don't know what special ingredients are in the Krabby Patties though. I will give Nicktoons Racing a 7 out of 10. And not perfect, but at least it laid the groundwork foundation for the later Nickelodeon kart racing games moving forward, with the introduction of the Nicktoons Winners Cup Racing, Nicktoons Nitro, and even laid the groundwork being and later found into the groundwork for Nickelodeon Kart Racers 2018. And it's still here today as Nickelodeon Kart Racers 3 Slime Speedway. So definitely check out the game that started the Nicktoons Racing game series. So and I really recommend to stay away from the GBC version because it really sucks. Hopefully, I really hope for Nickelodeon and Game Mill and Bantam Games continue to improve Nickelodeon kart racers head on. However, we do need more characters though, and one of the Nickelodeon IPs that we need in the fourth Nickelodeon kart racer games is the Wild Thornberries. We need Chalk Zone. We need Rocket Power, and Jesus Christ, we need Glitch Tex as well. Vehicle-wise, while I like the vehicles in Nicktoons Racing for specific characters, some of them were kind of missing in the Nickelodeon Kart Racer game. What I'm talking about is that Nickelodeon Kart Racers kind of missed a lot of carts from the original Nicktoons Racing, like SpongeBob's Pineapple Kart and Cat Dog's kart vehicle as well. And when Stimpy was when Ren and Stimpy were later were added in Nickelodeon Kart Racers 2, Stimpy was missing his material possession cart, or as we know, we call it Stimpy's cat box cart. So most of the vehicles that were missing from Nicktoons Racing were a miss. Yes. Who knew? But who knows? Maybe we'll see those old carts, which were Cat Dog, Stimpy, and SpongeBob carts in the fourth game or something. We may never know, but overall, this is just some major feedback and the major missed opportunities is that Nickelodeon Kart Racers 3 would have had to ante up its kart selection rather than just introducing us more new kart body vehicles. We needed old retro kart vehicles as well. I mean, if you look at Mario Kart, you see that they introduced us to retro karts. These retro karts in Mario Kart 7 included the Egg 1 kart, the iconic B Dasher from Mario Kart DS, and the N64 pipe frame kart from Mario Kart 64. I would expect for Nickelodeon Kart Racers to try and do the same thing, but they did it very well. However, there were mere misses. Some of the carts they did miss. They kind of missed one of them, and that's being the pineapple cart for SpongeBob. In conclusion, Nicktoons Racing, yeah, I feel like it's a great racing game. Not really the best though because of some of the physics and the AI being misbehaving at times, like what you see in the Mario Kart series. But Nicktoons Racing still holds up rather well, and clearly I really enjoyed it. Don't forget, it's also on the PlayStation 1, so it's very possible and it's recommended to try out the PS1 version. Or if you're on PC, then I would rather be grabbing its PC port. Overall, Nicktoons Racing is actually fun. However, it's hard for Nickelodeon to try and compete in the kart racing genre. Since Nickelodeon, and even though they're big, they could at least try to make a kart racing game on their own, rather than just hiring dev teams to create their Nicktoons Racing game on their own. I mean, there's no real reason why you should not make a kart racing game by yourself. I mean, look at Nintendo. They made Mario Kart in-house at their own studio, Nintendo EAD, and later Nintendo EPD in the later years. Also, now that everyone is still loving now that I reviewed Nicktoons Racing, I really hope you guys really enjoyed this video, and I really hope you enjoyed the gameplay footage. Because don't forget, this is from Subway Surface X Gamer, my alternative gaming channel for gaming content and long plays. So if you guys want to check that out, Subway Surface X Gamer will soon be pinned by the time when he starts commenting. So I will give credit to Subway Surface X Gamer for its video for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed this gameplay review, and have a nice day. Goodbye.